Time now for a look at the stories that have been making waves in the international press this Thursday. Our press reviewer Alison Sargent is with us here again. And Alison, we're starting out with that summit of Muslim nations held on Wednesday in Istanbul. Muslim leaders there declared East Jerusalem to be the capital of Palestine. They've also called on other countries across the globe to do the same.
They have. This summit and this declaration are being heralded as historic by the Turkish press. The story is on pretty much all of the front pages there today. Hurriyet talks about a historic decision to recognize East Jerusalem as the capital of Palestine. Now, this summit was called by Turkey in quite a rush last week after Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Turkey's president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, was one of the most vocal about his rage over that decision by Donald Trump. And the Middle East Eye takes a very critical look at the Turkish president's concern over the fate of Palestine. The UK-based website says that Erdogan has spent years honing his reputation for leading the Muslim and Arab worlds. And the site points out that in recent years, Turkey has been quite quick to dispatch aid to places, to places where Muslims are in danger, such as Somalia and to the Rohingya in northern Burma. They say part of it is Erdogan's desire to see the return of the glory days of the Ottoman Empire, but it also plays very well to his conservative base at home in Turkey. And the Middle East Eye says it's hard to know if it's really sincere or if it's just another strategy to tighten his grip on power.
Well, meanwhile, other Muslim countries are coming under criticism for their perceived lack of support for the Palestinian cause. The
leaders of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and several other Muslim countries did not come to this summit, and they instead sent lower-level delegations there. That's garnered some backlash from the pan-Arab press today. You can see in this cartoon from Al-Quds, which is based in London. Behind we see Palestine is drowning. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia and its allies seem to be crying on that boat, but they have turned their backs.
OK, we're going to turn the page, but not our backs, and move over to the UK, where the press is reacting to last night's vote by MPs in Westminster to pass an amendment to the Brexit withdrawal bill. That's in defiance of the government.
Right. Its passage was made possible by Tory MPs who voted against their party. You can see photos of all of them on the front page of the right-wing tabloid, the Daily Mail today. The paper calls them self-consumed malcontents who, quote, pulled the rug out from EU negotiators and increase the chances of a Marxist in number 10 Downing Street. For all of that, the Daily Mail is asking, are you proud of yourselves? They are clearly not proud of these MPs. Other papers, though, do seem pretty proud of them. The Times of London talks about the revenge of the rebels on their front page. The Times is a centre-right paper that ultimately came out against the Brexit. They say that it is Theresa May's first Brexit defeat and that this vote undermines her as she heads to Brussels today for the EU summit.
Well, news of that vote is also sharing the front pages in the UK with the British cyclist Chris Froome after the revelations that he failed a drug test.
Right. Those revelations came out yesterday in The Guardian and Le Monde here in France. That story is now on The Guardian's front page today. They say Chris Froome is now fighting to save his career. The paper also devotes its editorial to the fight against doping in sports. They point the finger in particular at the entire world of professional sports, which they say gives athletes too much incentive to cheat by offering eye-watering prizes. And then there's also the promise of glory. And The Guardian says that this yearning of athletes to transcend human limits is as old as the games of classical times, as is cheating. But that's no reason to fight against it.
OK, Alison, let's turn now to a different fight. That's in Algeria, where there have been large protests in the Berber region.
Right, these protests were sparked by a government decision to shut down a law that would have required schools to teach in the Berber language, Tamziet, along with Arabic. Tamziet is one of Algeria's official languages. This story is now on the front pages of most papers in the country. You can see French language Algerian paper Liberté is talking about the intriguing silence of the government surrounding these protests. They've been going on since Monday, and the paper says the government still hasn't reacted. Meanwhile, Arabic language paper, Algerian paper El Kabar says they're worried the protests will continue to grow and turn violent. There have already been clashes with security forces over the past few days, and the Berber region has seen unrest and government crackdowns in the past.
Alison Sargent with the International Press Review. That's sadly all we have time for. Thank you very much. Wherever you are in the world, do stay tuned to France 24. There's more world news and headlines coming up.